Brothers, I have another video to do on the Charlotte light rail stabbing situation because Black Lives Matter has come out with a response and it is as demonic and evil as you can imagine. Tim Pool covered this, and so I will eventually cover it as well. I think I'll do that video next. But I did want to take a moment to talk about Legal Eagle. Yeah, Legal Eagle. You see, Legal Eagle has been on my channel in a series that has been escalating that Legal Eagle is a far left pro crime activist channel. And that has never been more true than today. This guy, I think, has jumped 100 points. I think this guy is in the 1400% a far left activist, radical, pro crime channel. Because the video that he just did and uploaded about Trump and the military taking out a boat of drug dealers, a boat of cartel members, and trying to frame it as though it were murder. That Trump had murdered these innocent 11 people. That's the way that the title sounds. That's the way that the thumbnail looks. And it is so outrageous and so ridiculous that it begs me making a video. Even right now, when I want to be making a video about this other topic, I still think this is important to cover. So, for those who don't know, there was a vessel carrying drugs that was filled with drug dealers. These people were criminals. These people were gang members. And the left has been lamenting the fact that their ship was blown up. Now, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. The left is obsessed with defending criminals and gang members and drug dealers, and like this guy, DeCarlos Brown, defending him. Oh, no, I condemn the action, but, he wasn't really at fault. Hurt people, hurt people. That's what Van Jones said. Hurt people, hurt people. The left is defending criminals. They're defending criminality. They're downplaying it and pretending that it doesn't exist, and they're gaslighting you for noticing. Legal Eagle did a video about how DC is perfectly fine. He went to the zoo in the middle of the day in DC and said, no, everything's fine here, guys. Everything's great here. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see. It's absolutely outrageous. It is absolutely outrageous that he would come there and say something that we all know to be a blatant lie. No, it's not safe to walk down the street at night in DC. And what Legal Eagle didn't mention is that I looked it up. DC is the fifth. It's number 5 in terms of violence and murders. Number 5 in the country. So these people, they lie about crime, and then innocent people get hurt. And at what point do you look at yourself and go, I'm a fucking demon? I am defending criminals and people who do harm at the expense of innocence. I am on the side of anyone and everyone that is opposed to Trump, which can include people that are just vile and evil. This guy, Legal Eagle, is somebody that supports Kilmar Obrego Garcia, a guy that is a wife beater, a drug dealer, a gang member, a guy that killed the mother of a rival gang member. This guy is a human trafficker. He is a detritus piece of shit, not to mention the fact he's a pedophile. And these are the people that the left champions. No, because you have a right to due process. This guy had his due process. 2 courts found that he was a member of MS-13. And yet they still want to champion it because these people love criminals, because they like the violence that they cause to people for a variety of reasons. And I know that may sound crazy to you, but the evidence is in what they do and what they say and how they defend it. And it is so transparent what their motivation and what their goal is. These people want crime. They want crime because at the end of the day, and I don't think Legal Eagle is smart enough to understand this, But the reason why they want crime is because they want to destabilize America. They want America to die. They want America to be destroyed. And they want to rebuild something in, their own image. This is what the left has wanted for years. And the fact is that they've been getting away with a lot of stuff for a long time. And I think it's time to start calling them out. And I think it's time to start getting real. These people on the left that are a social cancer, that are a detriment to our society, I think they should be rounded up and I think they should be thrown in jail. I think they are a great harm to innocent people. And I don't think there is any justification to allow them to roam free doing the harm that they've been doing, because innocent people are being hurt as a result of their suicidal empathy, because they know that they'll never have to deal with the consequences of their good intention. The reason why somebody like Legal Eagle doesn't care about Irina Zarutska is because he knows that he's never going to be in that position. He knows he's never going to be in that position. He's a millionaire. He doesn't have to worry about that. And it's fucking evil.
And I don't know why more people are not covering this story, but President Trump, as well as Secretary of Defense Hegseth, and probably a whole bunch of people at the Pentagon, just murdered 11 civilians. Murdered, like homicide, like actual war crimes. And maybe most horrifying of all, the Trump administration argues that as long as they label you a terrorist, they can and will murder you anywhere in the world without due process.
I just want to remind you of what we're talking about here. This guy is actively going out there and saying that Trump just murdered people, like talking about like American civilians. No, these were gang members, drug dealers, part of the cartel that were on a boat running drugs, and the American military erased them from the face of the earth. Now, any person who isn't a demonic, insane, depraved, subhuman piece of shit realizes that this is a net good. This is a good thing for the world. Only these freaks on the left could possibly start a video that way about why aren't more people talking about this? Well, the reason more people aren't talking about this is because they're aware of the situation and they realize that, oh shit, if we actually defend this, we'll be defending drug dealers, criminals, cartel members. And it'll make us look bad. And it will make you look bad. I'm going to make you look bad. In fact, actually, no, you're going to make yourself look bad.
On September 2nd, 2025, the Trump administration announced that the U.S. military had blown up a boat in the Caribbean in international waters. The vessel was supposedly, and we'll talk about that supposition later, carrying members of Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan criminal network that the Trump administration has labeled a foreign terrorist organization.
So, Tren de Aragua is filled with some of the most violent, vicious, deranged human beings on earth. And this guy, Legal Eagle, is literally sitting here trying to rehabilitate the image of Tren de Aragua. That is literally what he's sitting here doing. Oh, Trump calls them a domestic terrorist organization. They are a domestic terrorist organization. They cause terror wherever they go. These are some of the most brutal and barbaric people. And this is what I'm talking about, suicidal empathy. Now, these guys would cut off Legal Eagle's head and mail it to his, mother, girlfriend, spouse, wife, family member. They would do that without a second thought. These are barbarians. These are evil people. And yet, Legal Eagle is literally getting in front of you going, well, Trump says that they're a domestic. This guy hates Trump more than actual violent terrorists and criminals. That is how far the left has gone. They hate Trump more than people who decapitate others and mail their body parts to their loved ones. How messed up must you be as a human being, as an American, and anything else, that is your stance on this position? That Trump murdered 11 innocent people. This is fucking outrageous. And we're only 44 seconds in.
earlier this year. 11 people were killed. Wars have been fought over less than what has just happened.
Good. Good. You know what? These people are shipping poison into the country. They're committing evil. Wiping them off the face of the earth. The only one that would have a problem with that is a privileged millionaire homosexual like you that doesn't have to face the consequences of your suicidal empathy. Do you know who does have to deal with your type of suicidal empathy? Is ordinary people who have to put their life at risk dealing with these people in public because they don't have security. They don't have $1 million mansion. They don't have a place where they can just go and, oh, I got paid security, or, I've got special status privilege because I live in this one area. No, the fact is that you're allowed to say this stuff because you live in privilege. You live in luxury. That's the reality. And innocent people like Irina Zarutska, that kind of girl who gets on a bus after a long shift and gets stabbed in the neck by a Nevron, the type of Nevron that you would say, oh, no, they absolutely should be out on cashless bail. No. They absolutely should be out after 14 convictions. These are the people that we're dealing with. And it's so critically important that you understand that these people are evil. And they are a detriment to your society and mine.
Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, National Security Advisor, U.S. Archivist, and head of USAID, and why not, manager of your local Olive Garden, posted a grainy video of the strike on Twitter. While at the same time, Secretary of Defense Hegseth appeared to reject the concept of international law.
We have the absolute and complete authority to conduct that. First of all, just the defense of the American people alone.
And just after this U.S. attack, the Department of Defense rebranded itself the Department of War, which it cannot do, and deployed 4,500 sailors, Marines.
Oh, they absolutely can do. They can change the name to whatever they want. They're the government. So, some terrorist supporting retard on the internet named Legal Eagle decides, you know what, I decide that they can't do that. No, they absolutely can. And they did.
8 warships, a nuclear attack submarine, and 10 F-35s to the Caribbean. And Venezuela responded by mobilizing militia forces, calling it an act of aggression. Yeah! Because nothing says Nobel Peace Prize winner like blowing up non-combatants in boats that can't reach.
Non-combatants. Non-combatants. I mean, listen. What are we doing here? Let me tell you, if I were president, I would throw Legal Eagle in jail. In fact, everyone on his team I'd throw in jail. I just throw them in jail. Straight to jail. Straight to jail. Because these people are the enemy of America and our civilization. These people are not reporting the news and giving any sort of good faith interpretation of events. These people are actively trying to sow misinformation and discord for their own profit and their own personal agenda. There is no way on earth that you're going to call these gang members, these brutal, savage killers, non-combatants, and try to frame it as though these were just innocent fishermen. Trump just murdered 11 innocent fishermen in international waters. That is actually what this guy is trying to do. How malevolently evil must you be as a human being to look at the death of evil, vile, vicious cartel members that would kill you at a moment's notice and mail your head back to your family? To look at them and say, no, they're the victims here. Trump is Orange Man bad. Orange Man so bad that the cartels are superior. This guy should be in jail. 100% this guy should be in jail. If we want to fix society, we have to start making some drastic decisions and putting these bad actors acting in bad faith that are spreading this sort of vile rhetoric that is anti-civilization. These people need to be in prison. And then we can put them to work. Yeah, I already talked about that. I have a plan. If I am ever elected president, which I won't be, so don't worry. But if I were ever elected president, I would have these work camps. And people like Legal Eagle and others would be sent there, and they would be making, components for corporations in America on the cheap. And companies would be able to bid for the labor of these people, which would go towards funding important things for the American people, roads, infrastructure, all that. And then these people will be working to make components to lower the cost of goods for the American people. And yeah, all these leftists that don't do anything to help anyone and actually are profiting off of spreading misinformation and are putting out this type of vile shit that actually gets people killed and hurt by running defense for terrorists and criminals and rapists and gang members and people like Kilmar Abrego Garcia. They would actually be put to use making America better for everyone. Our prices would be lower because we'd be throwing all these people in jail, and they'd be working and learning a skill that's actually valuable instead of lying on the internet and spreading propaganda in favor of dangerous, vicious gang members and terrorists.
The U.S. in international waters. And reports are that many people at the Department of Defense are starting to lawyer up because of these actions. And while the president may have immunity for official presidential acts, nobody else does. And it seems the White House is still looking for a legal justification for what sure looks like war crimes. But this is a constitutional and criminal mess. But how did we get here? In February, the Trump administration designated Tren de Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said, quote, "All options will be on the table if we're dealing with what are designated to be foreign terrorist organizations who are specifically targeting Americans on our border." Okay, but the boat that the military blew up was not at the U.S. border. It was in the Caribbean, and it was in international waters, and Trump officials did not even know where it was going. Trump has said the small boat was headed for the mainland USA. Rubio said it was headed to some other country. Later, Rubio claimed it would eventually reach the United States, and it looks like it took the administration almost a week to set forth any legal authority for the strike. But Hegseth did not cite a legal authority that gives Trump the right to kill drug smugglers. Instead, he said,
"We have the absolute and complete authority to conduct that."
J.D. Vance was similarly cavalier, saying, quote, "Killing cartel members who poison our fellow Americans is the highest and best use of our military." I guess he fell asleep when he was assuming the conclusion fallacy at Yale Law School. And when pressed by someone who said killing someone without due process was a war crime, Vance said, quote, "I don't give a shit." And he
Based Vance. Absolutely based Vance. Yeah, Giga Chad Vance versus soy-based Legal Eagle.
Even Senator Rand Paul understood how dangerous that statement
Yeah, Rand Paul is a traitor, by the way. He's one of the worst. He needs to be voted out. Him and Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they all need to be voted out.
was. He said, quote, "JD, I don't give a shit." Vance says killing people he accuses of a crime is the highest and best use of the
Yeah, people that are part of Tren de Aragua and are, gang members. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what kind of pieces of shit do you have to be to run defense for these animals? Like this is so malevolently evil. This is so deranged. This is so unhinged. We're sitting here, and this guy and Rand Paul are arguing that no, you shouldn't have killed these people that were smuggling drugs that would eventually kill American citizens, and these people that if they made it into the country would absolutely commit harm against Americans. These people who are gang members and criminals and some of the worst scum imaginable. No. You should treat them with kid gloves. No. Don't you know they have due process? They have no due process. They're not in America. They're not American citizens. This is so unhinged. This is so deranged. It's so fucking pathetic.
military. Did he ever read To Kill a Mockingbird? Did he ever wonder what might happen if the accused were immediately executed without trial or representation? What a despicable and thoughtless sentiment it is to glorify killing someone without a trial. And as Paul points out, if the 11 people were bringing illegal narcotics into the U.S., the criminal justice system is equipped to handle it.
We assume these people were bad people and drug dealers, but if they were caught off the coast of Miami, we would stop the boat. If they don't shoot at us, we don't shoot at them. They're confiscated, they're put in jail.
To which I would add, even if those people were convicted of the most heinous version of the crimes they are accused, none of those carry the death penalty, and yet they were executed.
Well, maybe it should. These people get away with the leniency. Our system is so broken. It is so incredibly broken. Yeah, I completely support what Trump did, 100%. By the way, Legal Eagle had no problem when Obama would attack American citizens overseas. Yeah, you remember Obama where he killed an American citizen? You remember that? You may not remember that. The media didn't really cover that much. They called him Obama. The fact is that these people are more outraged that violent, vicious criminals were executed than than that young girl, Irina Zarutska. That girl that was murdered. Illegal Eagle doesn't care about her. He cares more about these rapists and criminals, gang members, terrorists. No, you should have been more lenient on them. You should have been more lenient on them. You should have been more lenient on the criminals. No, fuck these people. These are animals. Yeah, of course put them down. What are you talking about? This is the most basic thing I've ever heard. Yeah, no, these people lost the right to live when they did what they do. Yeah, no. Rand Paul is wrong. This guy's wrong. They're not just a little bit wrong. They are drastically wrong. It's shocking, actually. It's shocking that we even have to have this conversation.
Now, the government has yet to identify the 11 people by name, nor have they provided any details about who they were, what evidence the government had that they were smuggling drugs. But Trump said the people on the boat were smugglers.
On the boat, you had massive amounts of drugs.
But we don't know if that was true, and we have every reason to be skeptical. An official who has, quote, years of experience fighting drug cartels told the New York Times that people on the boat might have been migrants who were being smuggled. So while it's possible some of those people were involved in drugs, it's also possible that some were involved in human trafficking, and some of those people might have been victims who...
Oh, human trafficking. Oh, well, that makes it so much better. They weren't drug trafficking. They were human trafficking. Oh, all the better. All the better. I mean, this guy is such a wretched human being. And it's like, yeah, you can make fun of him for his take on Captain Marvel, that silly video that he did. But when you actually listen to what this guy is saying, what he's advocating for, he's actually talking about this type of suicidal empathy that basically treats people that do evil as though they're just like they're victims. They no, they deserve to have the chance to go out and hurt people again. That's what they deserve. Now the victims, they don't get a second chance. They don't get a second chance. The lady that was stabbed on the light rail in Charlotte, yeah, she doesn't get a second chance. But the guy who stabbed her, he got 14 chances. She doesn't get a second chance. She didn't do anything. But people like Legal Eagle are on the side of the killer. They're on the side of the murderer. They're on the side of the rapist. They're on the side of the drug dealer. Always. But, maybe it's only because Trump is involved somehow. When it was Obama, this guy didn't give a shit. It's so incredibly pathetic to watch somebody like this operate. And to be honest, I don't know how much more of this video I want to go through. But I wanted to show you at least some of it so that you understand who and what we're dealing with. This guy is the enemy. This sort of liberal, suicidal empathy has done more harm to innocent people, has claimed more lives than you can possibly imagine, and it is evil. And Rand Paul is part of this, and he should be removed from office too. Throw him in jail too. Like, these people are evil. And what they're advocating for is evil. And if you sit there and you go, no, but these drug dealers have a right to due process, and if they found him guilty, then they'd spend the next couple of years in jail. We're talking about some of the most evil people on the planet who do things that most human beings couldn't even imagine. And yet we're sitting here defending him because this fucking freak, this plastic, disingenuous retard, thinks that this is the best way to go about gaining justice. What about this? That this guy is saying is justice. This guy just hates Trump that much, and it's fucking pathetic.
Exploded. And traditionally, the Navy or Coast Guard interdicts vessels involved in trafficking and smuggling. But after the incident, Marco Rubio said those days are over. Quote, instead of interdicting it, on the president's orders, we blew it up, and it'll happen again.
Good. Good. What a place to end. Yeah, I'm glad that Marco Rubio and the president are doing things to keep Americans safe and to get drugs off the street and make criminals fearful. You see, criminals are not afraid of people like Legal Eagle. They abuse the suicidal empathy of people like Legal Eagle in order to hurt more people. in order to get away with crimes. But I'm a fan of Trump's approach. That's what I'm in favor of right now. Because we have too many people that are putting out this sort of pap, and it's innocent lives that get hurt. I keep bringing up that arena story in Charlotte, but it's so vivid and it sticks in my mind. That is the end result of liberalism and the soft on crime policies and the way that they just treat these things like they're statistics. And, well, we really need more mental health issues. That's what Hassan said. No, we really need to stop cashless bail. We need to stop letting people out of jail. This guy was convicted, 14 times? No, this sort of suicidal empathy needs to be put out. It needs to be done away with. And the people who advocate for it should be shamed and mocked and humiliated. And that's what I'm doing here. Anyway, thank you, brothers, for watching. If you want to go watch the rest of the video, you can on Legal Eagle's channel. It's insufferable, I know, but if you want to see the whole thing, you can definitely go do that. Anyway, on that note, I will bid you guys a good day, and I'll see you next time.